You're locked into the Ether Report podcast.
Lil Dicky, Save That Money. All right, for example, MAJID, where were you exactly when this record came out? And what was your first reaction to a comedian rapper?
It might surprise you a little bit. I mean, I heard it when I was at work. I think Ian had put me up on Lil Dicky probably a week prior or so. Then I listened to Professional Rapper, and I was just going through his album, and I heard this cut. It's just off the, strength of it being Lil Dicky featuring Fetty Wap and Rich Homie Quan. Like, I had to see what was going on there. And I kind of knew where he was going. I knew it was kind of thrift shoppy. Save That Money, I can tell coming from Lil Dicky, it was going to be one of those kind of songs. I wasn't mad at it, per se. And I had, like, a couple experiences with the record, too, which is funny that we're doing it. Yeah, so I heard the song and I was like, okay, I get what he did with it. Like Save That Money, which is obviously opposite of what most rap songs really talk about. And then, him putting Fetty Wap on there, and then the beat kind of confuses you. You think that it's going to be about something else. Whether he's talking about, saving money. The experience that I had was I was actually in a bar with the girl I'm seeing right now. And we were like listening, like we were just vibing to the music. They play like Fetty Wap shit. You play Rich Homie Quan songs, you get your Future songs, your Drake songs, and shit that you regularly hear. And then this comes on, and then you can see people start moving to it. They've never heard this song before, but just off the beat and the fact that they hear Fetty Wap, they don't even realize what he's saying. People just start moving to it, like, oh, I know this song. Like, it's automatically familiar to them. Little do they know, This is a fucking Lil Dicky song.
Sonically, it fit the palette of a typical Fetty or, that kind of record.
Even Rich Homie Quan song, yeah. And then it's funny because people don't know what to say. And then I felt like halfway through the verse, they might have started realizing, like, wow, I don't even fucking know this song. And then might even listen to the song like, wow, this is what they're saying. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that they heard what he was saying or if they just realized they didn't listen to the song, but, you see the energy kind of fall back a little bit. As opposed to most of those songs, My Way, Meeting Those Dreams and Nightmares, you don't stop moving to it at any point. You keep the same energy throughout the entire record.
Mr. Producer, I have to ask you, when MAJID says thrift shoppy, what does that mean to you?
I mean, it's kind of campy, it's corny, and it's funny in its own way. It's not like anything else that we might hear on the radio or we might, be bumping in our car, because it's not like the most hype song. Nobody wants to yell around, yo, I'm going to save money. I'm not going to spend anything. I'm going to, make myself financially secure. Like, that's not an exciting story at all. But Lil Dicky somehow makes that idea funny and enjoyable in, like, a whole record with, like, these other artists. I think it's absolutely talented. If you can stand out for people like that, but also, you come up with an individual idea, a unique idea, and make it great.
MAJID brought up something that stood out. It was that the record is very deliberate. You could tell that he was going for something. And it's funny because as I punch in the name of the song, it's like $ save dat DAT money. So it's a very overt, like, cliche, like making fun of rap cliches and stereotypes.
Well,
exactly. It's kind of culture.
With Lil Dicky, he started off on YouTube, right? Like, he started off writing his own music and being corny himself and being a naturally funny person, putting that into his raps. But I think he then got fined from his YouTube days and came out with Professional Rapper. And when you have a song that has big name artists like Fetty Wap and Rich Homie Quan, there's definitely a lot more behind the scenes work than what we might assume. I don't think this is just Lil Dicky and his brainchild. I'm assuming that he has a team or a group of people at his label or somebody that he works with that he's coming up with funny ideas with, and that he's not necessarily either producing the beats himself or, like, making these connections. But I feel like he did possibly come up with the idea to save that money.
Where I came at, when you touch on that point, I feel like this is like, I don't know if you guys remember this song. It's a pop song by Sarah Bareilles. It's called Love Song. I don't know if you guys remember. It was like a number one. It was like a really popular song. But the story behind it was, her label was like, oh, we want you to make a love song. Because she was just like an indie artist that just made music.
Oh, yes.
Make. Yeah.
something writing a love song today, shit like that. I think Emily, who used to do the radio show with us, she actually put us on to her.
Yeah, she's pretty talented. And she like didn't want to do like a generic song. It's kind of like the label accent for the hit single. You always hear rappers talking about that when it's a hit.
Yeah.
So like she made a love song. You know, she kind of made like it's kind of making fun of it. Like that song wasn't serious. It was like, I'm not gonna write you a love song, but it was called Love Song. So I feel like this is a Lil Dicky. Maybe he had pressure from somebody like, oh, you got to make a hit on the record, something that fits in with what's going on, something that fits in with the palette.
It was like Tofu.
But he doesn't do it poorly. He does it well, which is surprising to me. Like usually when you have something that stands out, we're like, okay, wow, this is a label pushing this artist to make this song, or this is his like hit grab. We can like see that song, pick it out, be like, okay, this isn't necessarily a great song. One Time to Be Alive.
Yeah, you know the most surprising thing, Ian, and I get kudos to you for doing this probably 2 years in a row now, is that you bring us an artist that is in his incubator stage and then kind of blows up. And then after he blows up, you're like, hey, remember that guy I've been telling you about? Now he got, 10 million views in all his YouTube videos. This record today has 5.2 million listens on SoundCloud and 13.5 million on YouTube. And it broke the top 50.
And the video is crazy, too.
Yeah. I mean, so he's obviously a star. It's bigger than a niche. He's dominating whatever category he's in. But Majid, you talked about packaging something so it may look and taste like something, but it's not really that. And it's like a tofu wrap. Exactly. This is a tofu. This is a tofu burger. Like what am I eating? It tastes and look like it, but it's really not it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of serving as something that they want to spin and kind of trying to tap into your subconscious a little bit.
Yeah,
because everybody talks about all these records with the messages. The messages are ignorant. So it's kind of like using the same melodies and beats to kind of tap into your subconscious. That brings me back to the moment that I had in the bar. So I was like, are people actually listening and realizing that he's saying to save that money? And maybe that may be why they're stopping and they're really taking that in. Or I don't know, but it was just a moment that stuck in my mind.
Yeah, the one thing that stood out to me, and I think it's a funny part, and some people really didn't like it, was when he cut off Rich Homie Quan, when Rich Homie Quan kind of went off into
I hated that.
Yeah. Rich,
I thought that was hilarious.
You could either stand on, you could either be on one or two sides, right? Like either they deliberately did that because they knew Rich Homie Quan was a part of the joke, like, hey, rap about something that's not involving this, and then I'm going to cut you off, or they kind of like played him out, like, well, this is not the time and place for that.
I think he's in on the joke, though. I think that he wouldn't be in on the video if he wasn't in on the joke.
Or he might have gotten paid.
Cause exactly, that paycheck. And I feel like that's corny, bro. Like, I feel like it's kind of messed up to, if it went down like that, and it's just about the paycheck on our side. But I mean, hey, it's a song. It's done out of jest. It's supposed to be humorous, so I guess we can let it slide. But I didn't really dig that. I felt like it was more about cutting Rich Homie Quan off and saying he's not talking about anything, more so than it was about anything.
On the side, after looking at the price of the side of just bacon and comparing that to what the difference in the cheeseburger versus the bacon cheeseburger was, and making my decision. I would hate to be the waiter trying to tell me something different. I'ma get on Yelp in a minute and review this piece of shit place like only a kite know how. Unless you take the extra coffee off, I might get loud. Unless
Ian, I have to ask about the last verse. When Lil Dicky's when Lil Dicky's beefing with the waiter and he's talking to him about the tip. And what was it for the iced coffee?
Yeah, I thought that was funny when I first heard it, and then the more I heard it, the more I just didn't care for it at all. I thought that verse was kind of annoying, especially with that deep voice and his "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so embarrassed." That's funny the first time, but this song has a lot of replay value, and that joke isn't funny over and over again. I felt like if anything, the song could have really had been great without that last verse.
The song has 5 verses, right?
Yeah. I don't think Fetty Wap has a verse. He just has a chorus, right?
Yeah, no, there's still 5 including Fetty Wap's. He has I'm sorry, Rich Homie Quan's verse, and it's 5 with Rich Homie Quan, excluding the hook for Fetty.
So I definitely think that the song would have been fine. It gets its point across about saving money, and it shows that like this guy cares about it, especially in the video when he doesn't spend any money. He's always like, "Oh, can we get you to do this? I'm trying to do this without spending any money." Like it shows him doing that. Like, we know you don't want to spend your money. You don't have to go into a whole nother verse describing one instance about something so trivial as some cost. It just like gets boring when if I listen to the album, I'm definitely going to skip that verse.
I'm surprised that you would say that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you loved all of it, but I do agree though it was redundant, and we got it. The name of the song is called "Save That Money." Like, we get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like clever. It's the same thing with the first song in the album when he gets signed. He's with Snoop Dogg. The name of it is escaping me, but it's good the first few times, and it's entertaining because there's a joke. But the thing is with jokes is that there's a punchline, and the punchline isn't funny if you know what's going to come, like when it's happening and what it's going to say. I feel like Lil Dicky has a lot of potential, but if you can't keep that replayability going on, then be tough to say.
I know you guys don't have the lyrics in front of you. I'm just scrubbing through them. I mean, for what it is worth, for its comedic value, he really did a great job with this record. And this is just the tip of the iceberg with Lil Dicky. If you actually listen to a lot of his music, a lot of his conceptual, they're very much tied to a story, but there's always humor in them. And I think he's really good at that. We reviewed Set Century, and I think a big difference between Set Century and Lil Dicky is that Lil Dicky is a bit more he's overtly funny, and we get it, and he doesn't overdo it. It's unfortunate he overdid it on this record, but like the record with Snoop, they basically telling him his resume. I thought that was really good. It didn't need a video to really for me to close my eyes and see it. The joint about him and the chick, I forget the name of the song, but that was also pretty funny, and it got the point across. So I mean, this is what he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great storyteller. That's definitely probably his best strength in terms of rapping ability, is that he really knows how to paint a picture in your head.
Yeah.
And but that's wonderful for a comedian, because he can tell comedy stories, but it's hard to go back and listen to a story the ending and punchline to.
Yeah, Jid, I have to ask, Jid, how long do you think this can last?
Are you talking about the song or Lil Dicky's whole...
Lil Dicky overall.
Wait. Lil Dicky's way. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things. I feel like he's got another thing in him. I feel like he can get a little bit bigger, because he's not that popular on a grand scale.
Yeah.
He's still sort of like a YouTube sensation that people will find out about. I just recently saw a T-Pain video where he's in it. So he's still achieving his star. And I feel like he hasn't reached his peak yet. So I honestly can't say how far. I would realistically give it another album or so. And that might be the star-making album. And then after that, people might be over it. Or it might just start a wave of the other people trying to do the same exact thing. One person makes a novelty kind of joint. Everybody wants to, kind of do it, and he might get lost in the sauce there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he has very many albums left in him.
I did want to say, though, I think that he is really a really good rapper. He's not a bad rapper. From this to the professional rapper joint, he's very, he's well thought out, and he takes his craft very seriously. And the reason why it might be kind of messed up for him is that, it's all comedy rap. So as good as he'll rap, we're never going to acknowledge the fact that he just kind of went in on that. It's just going to be like, oh, you heard that song, let's laugh at it, move on, as opposed to a lot of other rappers who get noticed for their sheer talent. I think it does him that disservice. And, you can tell through a lot of his other songs that he really cares about how he's perceived as a talent, as a rapper. And that might get overlooked.
I agree. He has amazing rapping abilities, definitely above average. But I think his biggest weakness is replay value, but also I don't think he's a Weird Al, when he can have that mainstream mass appeal and everybody gets the joke. Or he'll take a popular song and redo it so that you can't even tell what the difference in the songs are, because he's so talented at matching it perfectly. I think he probably has a tour in him and then maybe another album, but unless he does something bigger than what he's doing currently, I don't see his career lasting past 2 professional albums.
Yeah, so I mean, look, to summarize, I think we're having a good conversation here, and I just want to give a 1 to 10 grade on the record. Save That Money. Not necessarily the video, just the song itself. I'm scrolling through I know you guys don't have the lyrics in front of you. I'm just scrolling through them, and it's funny because going to college, I can identify with a lot of these funny, save money type of lines. I mean, they are ridiculous, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, I definitely did that. The one that stands out is General T-Saw, half a dozen on the stick, just so I can whet the appetite a bit. You know, when you're in the mall and you're just walking around and you come back 2 or 3 times to the one person serving the samples.
Free sample.
Yeah, like I've definitely done that before, and that's funny, and it's good rap. So I think he does a good job at marrying both of them. He's probably the best to do it in this category. And when you really just look at it for that and how he used Fetty Wap and even how he used Rich Homie Quan, if you look at the verse, it's just a Rich Homie Quan verse, and the production is pretty dope. Shout out to Money Always. It's pretty funny that that's a producer's name. I don't know if that's a real producer or they just did that to play on the concept. But, you know, overall, conceptually, the song came together very well. Other than the fact that it was really long and it might have been too many verses too long, and he drilled the point home, I'd give this a 7 of 10. I mean, maybe even an 8. But right now, I'd definitely give it a 7 to 10. I like this record. It doesn't have replay value, but it's funny. It comes across, and I get it. And I haven't heard the album yet, but I'm assuming it plays into the whole concept.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great song. Like, it's a really well put together song. I do like the sentiment about it, and I do like the fact, I didn't get to stress the point that I do like the fact that it sounds like everything else, but it has that message. Kind of confuses you because people need that at the end of the day. Like, people are influenced by records, so at least let's have a good one out there. And I like it was creative for him to put Fetty Wap, whose hook is an automatic, you know, when you think Fetty Wap, you think hit, you think, you know, club banger, you think this is acceptable to me, let's go party to it. So it's like it can get that type of play. Having Rich Homie Quan on it just really adds to that sentiment too. And I just think it was a well put together song. I mean, Lil Dicky to me, he's a decent rapper. He's a good rapper. You know, there's no disclaimers behind that. I liked the song. The one thing I didn't like though was the Rich Homie Quan verse, because I understand it was done in jest, but I mean, until I get confirmation, I don't feel like it was done with Rich Homie Quan in on the joke. And if he wasn't in on the joke for just a check, it's like, it's like, you know, he just comes and raps, and it just makes him seem like such a irrelevant thing. Like, do you hear this guy? And Rich Homie Quan has put out some pretty solid records. I mean, people would say, I can't understand what he's talking about, da-da-da-da. So it's kind of like, just makes him, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. I cringe when I see the video with that part, and it's just that. Overall,
well, let me just jump in and say that I was online checking it out while you were talking about it. It seems like Rich Homie Quan set out a block of time, like 4 or 6 hours, just to hang out with Lil Dicky. I think this was part of like the commitment of being on the song. So he said they did everything together. They hung out, they drank. He brought him to his crib. The only thing they didn't do was go to the strip club. So it seems to me that Rich Homie was in on it. I mean, there's no way he can't be in on it. But like you said, it might have been the check. But regardless, though, I think he gets it. Lil Dicky mentions in this article that Rich Homie Quan has the strongest accent of any artist that he's ever met. So maybe that was the joke. Like, I don't even understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess that's a saving grace. Overall, I agree. If we were doing a gym metric, I would give it a 7.5. I'm going to like that a 7. I was trying to decide between 8 and 7. Came with 7.5. I'm going to let it lean towards the 7. I'll give it a 7 to 7.
Ooh, I thought you were going for the 8. I felt it. I felt an 8.
Hey, I mean, technically speaking, I should be giving it an 8 because I really want to give it a 7.5, right?
I don't know. It's up to you. It's your call. Ian, you're up next.
I am the 7.
You giving me a 7? So 2 7s?
Yeah.
I definitely really like this song. I heard it on the album. I think I heard the album, I guess, the week it came out, and I've definitely felt like this song was going to be a hit just from Fetty Wap being on it and like the trap style beat and the like catchy hook. I definitely felt good things from the song, and then the video came out and I was even more happy and surprised about it. But then again, the more I listened to it, the less I started to like it. From Rich Homie Quan being cut off mid-verse, it kind of takes you out of the song a little bit. That last verse about the coffee just seems like really overdone. While it is a good song, it definitely has its flaws. But it definitely, strength alone could be an 8, I agree. But it isn't. There are glaring flaws that we can point out and see and pick apart and be like, nah, here he doesn't do this, or this isn't good, or this could be done better. So it's hard to give that an 8 in good conscience. So I think I'm going to save them points and give it a 7.5.
Well, no JID metric. You got to give it one flat number.
The flat number? All right, then I have to go to 7.
Oh, 7's across the board. All right, guys. Well, listen, this is the first time we've ever done the phone call rendition of the Ether Report. I thank you guys for calling in. Young JID God, Mr. Producer, Save That Money, Lil Dicky. I haven't heard the album, but maybe we'll get the luxury of reviewing it a little later in the year.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, guys, the Ether Report. We'll check you out next week.
The Ether Report podcast is hosted by the Zero Funks Given family, recorded live at 90.3 FM. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the panel and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the shamed relatives, 90.3 FM, or the core staff.